Salwete amiki. Hello, friends. So let's talk about that awesome election last night. With the special congressional race in Georgia District 6 between John Ossoff and Karen Handel, and what much of the media, both the mainstream, old, boring, leftist, agenda-driven media, and even some of the newer alternative media, had dubbed a referendum on the Trump agenda so far. And if you want to look at it from that somewhat oversimplistic mindset, let's look to our shitposter-in-chief who tweeted last night about this great thing. He goes, well, the special elections are over, and those that want to make America great again are 5-0. All the fake news, all the money spent equals 0. So I think he's somewhat right on that. And there's a degree to where this was a bit of a referendum on the early Trump administration agenda. And so what is he referencing there? He's referencing another special election that took place in South Carolina last night, and early elections in Kansas and Montana. Montana being a notably amusing one, where the Republican managed to stave off the Democrat contender after body slamming, or whatever he did, to an obnoxious Guardian reporter. So what does this mean? That these Republicans have swept these 4 or 5 districts in the early period of Trump's first term. Well, it means, especially considering how much time and money that the Democrats put in these elections, in particular here in the 6th district in Georgia, it means that the American people so far, at least in these particular districts, which were conservative already, that they don't buy the whole Russian is a traitor, Trump is a traitor working for Russia, Trump is an idiot, Trump is some sinister, who knows what, hell-bent on destroying America, and that he needs to be impeached. As unpopular as some of the polls show for Trump, this narrative isn't getting across. People won't buy it. People aren't trusting the media. Week after week, various mainstream media outlets, especially places like the New York Times and the Washington Post and CNN, put out story after story after story of breaking news. This person in the administration has this ties to Russia. And it's gotten old. Not many people believe it. And, I mean, just last weekend, I saw people suggesting that on Saturday night, Trump was going to fire Robert Mueller and have another Saturday night massacre. People have already decided that this is Nixon version 2.0, and that it's inevitable that Trump is going to get impeached. So in light of those ideas, when compared to last night's elections, it shows that people aren't really buying it. Ossoff in Ossoff's concession speech, he mentions that this is a sign of hope that, perhaps in the future, namely the 2018 congressional elections, that this is a sign that people are becoming tired of Trump's agenda and that they're going to vote Democrats into office. And he's not entirely wrong. The congressman that Karen Handel is now replacing won his seat by 23 points in that same district in 2016. But at the same time, that district Trump also only beat Hillary by 1.5 points. So there's something to be said here. The Democrats at least when you frame it as Trump versus the Democrats make up some points in heavy Republican districts. But they're not going to take the House and therefore have the ability to impeach Trump, or at least start it, by running on Trump is Hitler, he needs to be impeached, blah, 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 blah. Most people, with their lack of trust in the media and their cynicism with the Democratic message, aren't going to fall for that. Now, what they can do, and what Ossoff did in his local campaign here in Georgia, is that he focused on healthcare. And that's something that if the Republicans aren't able to do something different on, or at least come up with some kind of replacement bill to Obamacare that doesn't seem like a disaster on all sides, the Democrats can very likely use that to make things far more difficult in actuality for Trump than they have now. So, I mean, in a funny way, Trump himself, he offered some advice on Twitter once again for Democrats. He said that they would do better as a party if they got together with Republicans on healthcare, tax cuts, security, and stop wasting their time on obstructionism. And he's right on a few points. Obstruction isn't going to get them their victory. But they might be able to throw a big wrench in the Republicans' plans if the repeal and replacement of Obamacare doesn't turn into something either much better than Obamacare or some other feasible health care plan. Because the Democrats got themselves in major trouble by forcing Obamacare down the throats of the American people in Obama's first term. And if the Republicans aren't careful with health care, they can end up screwing themselves and making things even more polarized and disgusting in American politics. So in that light, I'm not particularly hopeful. I've seen nothing really from Republicans, particularly Paul Ryan, and even Trump on this, that leads me to believe that they will do anything sensible overall in healthcare. So I'm beginning to be a little pessimistic that any ground gained on these issues is going to fall to pieces by 2018. Because, as I've mentioned before in this introductory remarks, I think the American Republic is dead. Leftist liberal ideas have more or less become the mainstream perception on things. Nationalized healthcare is likely where we're headed. And no, people don't want to hear that Trump is a traitor, Trump is working for Russia, etc., etc. But people aren't really that amenable to conservative ideas anymore as a whole. So, anyway, there you have it. Trump's agenda is still popular with people. It's not unpopular enough to give Democrats victories, and it won't be overall, I don't think. But if nothing significant is done with healthcare, if the Republicans don't manage to make some wise decisions about this, I think they're in real trouble for the 2018 congressional elections.